In the previous video, I very briefly described the topographical model of mind using the classical example of the iceberg phenomenon. I very briefly said that the unconscious mind contains our repressed memories, our suppressed emotions, our instincts such as sexual instinct or aggressive instinct, which is usually not allowed by the society to express freely. So that unexpressed instincts are also the part of the unconscious mind. The unconscious mind also contains our hidden fears. It contains our internal conflicts. So basically anything which is very painful, which is repressed, suppressed, not expressed, not allowed by the society, which is very frightening, that we don't want to face, all that resides in our unconscious mind. So in this video, I shall be talking about what are the various ways, what are the various doors through which we can reach to our unconscious mind. So, but why do we want to reach to the unconscious mind? Because unconscious mind, when we reach there and we deal with the stuff that is there in the unconscious mind, that helps in a deeper healing, that helps in a deeper cleansing, deeper healing. We get a kind of awareness about our own self, a holistic awareness about our own self, which helps in our personal growth. And also the unconscious mind, if you see the other models such as the Jungian model, which I will talk in another video, the unconscious mind doesn't contain only these painful and repressed things. As per the Jungian model, the unconscious mind also contains our latent potential, our creative potential, and many other wonderful things also. So the tapping into the unconscious mind helps in unleashing our latent potential and our hidden creativity as well. So in this video, we will be talking about various doors to reach to the unconscious mind. So the first door to the unconscious is dreams. As per Sigmund Freud, dreams are the door, the royal door to the unconscious mind. So this is kind of a natural mechanism, a natural door to reach to the unconscious mind, because sleep is natural, dreams are natural. It occurs to everyone and you don't need any help of a psychiatrist or psychologist. So why dreams are the door to the unconscious mind? Because during our wakeful hours, there is a kind of censorship, a kind of filter or a barrier which stops the unconscious material to come to the surface, because it will generate a lot of anxiety, and then you will not be able to function in your day-to-day life. But when you sleep, when the kind of conscious mind sleeps, this repression barrier, it loosens its grip, and the unconscious material come to the surface in the form of dreams. But the material that will be coming will not be literal. It will come in the form of symbols and stories, because the unconscious mind is not having language. The unconscious mind is full of symbols, myths, and the stories. So whatever dreams that we see are always symbolic and not literal, because if it comes literally, it will be too painful, and so the person might wake up. So that is why it comes in the form of disguise as symbols and the stories. So The dreams are always symbolical. For example, as Freud said, that there are two kinds of thing. One is the manifest dream and one is the latent content. So manifest dream is something which the person describes. So if the person describes that I saw a dream where I was trying to climb a mountain, but a ghost was chasing me, or there were strong winds coming in the opposite direction, because of which I couldn't reach to the top of the mountain. So this is not a literal thing. Here everything is symbolic. The mountain represents a kind of challenge that is there in the life, because mountains are huge. So the unconscious mind, the wants to tell that there is a kind of very formidable challenge in front of that person is trying to climb it, which is symbolic of person is trying to cross or overcome that challenge, but the ghost or the strong winds are there, because of which the person is unable to climb to the top. So this strong winds or ghost, they are symbolic of uh, this emotions, the past, maybe the past unresolved emotions, or past unresolved guilt, or past unresolved trauma or conflict, or something is there which is unresolved in the unconscious, that is not allowing the person to cross the challenge that is there in the present life of that person. So this is how, through the dreams, through the symbols, uh, we can interpret the dreams kind of metaphorically, and then we can kind of come to a conclusion that what the unconscious mind of that person holds. So the manifest dream is something which the person describes, and the latent content is this symbolic interpretation of that manifest dream, and this process is called as dream work. So through the dream analysis or dream work, we can tap into the unconscious mind of the person. Another method to reach to the unconscious mind is through the psychological testing. So the two common tests that are used are thematic apperception test and Rorschach test. So in thematic apperception test, the psychologist will give you cards, around 10 cards, one by one, and these cards, they have characters, and inherently they are ambiguous. So there is no objective right or wrong thing in those cards. Therefore, when it is shown to the person's mind is forced to project their own thoughts, emotions, patterns, fears, motives onto the character of those cards. And the psychologist typically asks that what led to this current situation in this card, what is happening in this card, what the characters are feeling in this card, and how the story will end, what will be the future. And the person, the interviewee, because the card is not having any objective right or wrong, the unconscious mind, it projects onto those characters and it narrates a story. And the psychologist typically finds out that which is the recurrent theme of the story in each of this card. Is it about guilt? Is it about betrayal? Is it about dominance, right? Is it about affiliation, or what? And through which kind of character the person is identifying, right, with the most. So based on that, the story that is narrated by the person, we can tap into the unconscious mind of the patient. And similarly with the Rorschach test also, it is an ink blot test. There are ink blots, and again it is an ambiguous neutral stimuli with no objective right and wrong, and the person's mind kind of reorganizes these ink blots, and then their unconscious fears or conflicts and the personality patterns, their perception pattern, their cognitive pattern, all of that can be found out through the Rorschach ink blot test. Another psychological testing is the sentence completion test. So a sentence is given that I will be happier when dash. Now if you give this to the 10 different person would give 10 different answers, right? So this is an interesting test. Or my father is this, or the most upsetting thing would be this, I want this. So this is kind of sentence completion test through which the unconscious mind, right, it can be tapped into. Another kind of testing is free association. In free association, the person is asked to speak continuously for some minutes. In psychoanalytical framework, it is from 30 to 45 minutes. The person is just allowed to speak continuously, because it is believed that when we speak continuously, the kind of repression barrier would loosen and the unconscious material would come to the surface. So what are the various pauses that the person is taking, what are the shifts in the topic that is happening, what is the theme, all that can be found out through this free association modality, through which we can reach to the unconscious mind. There is Freudian slip also. So the mistakes that we do in speaking or reading or writing also says something about our unconscious mind, जिसे हम typically कहते हैं slip of tongue, कि मैम की जगह मॉम बोल दिया या फिर मॉम की जगह मैम बोल दिया. एंड सो ये जो स्लिप ऑफ टंग होता है, करंट पार्टनर के नाम की जगह एक्स पार्टनर का नाम आ गया मुंह पे, तो these also things shows that your unconscious repressed or suppressed thing, sometimes it kind of bypasses your conscious thought and the repression barrier, and it expresses itself through this slip of tongue, which is called as Freudian slip of tongue. So these psychological testings, TAT, Rorschach, Freudian slip, free association, these all of sentence completion, these all tests also can be applied to reach to the unconscious mind. However, see, all these psychological testings, they are there, they are not kind of absolute, because they have some drawbacks also. For example, if someone is hungry currently, so in the thematic A perception test, there will be theme of hunger, right? So, and in case of this Freudian slip, right, that for mom, the person says ma'am, so the kind of argument is that they are very similar sounding, ma'am and mom. So sometimes it can be, without even unconscious thing also, some person would be fatigued or person would be stressed, or so even then also there could be the slip of tongue. So they have their drawbacks as well. So it is not very absolute that they will totally reveal, but yes, they are still considered a way, a potential way to reach to the unconscious mind in most of the time. So this is the another door, psychological testing, through which we can reach to the unconscious mind. The other ways to reach to the unconscious mind is through a deep relaxation and a sustained focused attention. So you must have heard about hypnotherapy. So in the hypnotherapy, in the ambient environment in which the temperature is not very high or low of the room. There is no total darkness or total brightness. A very ambient, relaxing environment is cultivated, in which through counting or the imagery, the person is pushed into the focused attention and a deep relaxation, through which the conscious resistance would get reduced, and the unconscious material, the unconscious memories, emotions, conflicts can come out and they can be explored. So this is a brief idea about the hypnotherapy, that through which the unconscious mind can be reached. There is something called as active imagination, which is a concept in the Jungian psychoanalysis, that active imagination is something in which the person kinds of gets into a deep relaxation state, and allow the mind is allowed to spontaneously emerge an image, a kind of dream snippet, or it could be a spontaneous imagery that is coming into mind. And instead of analyzing that image, the person is encouraged into getting a dialogue with that what this image actually wants to tell, what it is about. So it could be through a dialogue, it can be communicated through writing, it can be communicated through painting, and after that, once it is done, it kinds of reflects the hidden aspect of their personality or their unconscious material. And then through the writing and through reflecting and through painting, through clay work, it kinds of gets integrated. And this is kind of called as shadow work, where the shadow, the repressed in the unconscious, is brought to the surface, engaged in dialogue, worked through writing, and painting and clay art. And then through this, it is kind of integrated, the shadow is integrated, and this is called as individuation, right? The development of more integrated self. So this is the idea of active imagination, which is also one of the door to the unconscious. The other method through which includes through agents, right? So agents such as lorazepam, which is benzodiazepine, and thiopenton sodium, which is a general anesthetic agent of barbiturate class. But usually through these two drugs, also one can reach to the unconscious mind, which is usually in the psychiatry it is said as Lopez interview, lorazepam interview, or pentothal study. So these agents, any one of them depending on the indication, is given in low doses and under supervised environment. Obviously it is given in the low doses, and it kind of relaxes the mind, because benzodiazepine and barbiturate both act on the GABA. So it relaxes the mind, it relieves the anxiety, and it relaxes the conscious mind, so that the barrier, the repression barrier, get loosened, and then the unconscious material can be brought to the surface, and later on it can be dealt with. So through agents also you can reach to the unconscious mind. And psychoanalysis we discussed. So this free association, Freudian sleep transference analysis, all this come in the psychoanalytical framework only. One interesting thing about psychoanalytical framework is the Freudian couch. So you must have seen in some movies and series that the couch looks like this, right? The Freudian couch on which the person lies and the therapist sits behind the uh, couch to avoid the interference, and the patient is allowed to speak and talk in the relaxed state in the ambient environment. This couch, the shape of the couch is important because this couch, the shape is designed to facilitate relaxation and to facilitate regression, right? Because it is said that this position, double flexion, where your hip joint is also flexed and your knee joint is also flexed, this position was there when you were in the womb of the mother, right? So it is said that the womb of the mother was the most comfortable part of the entire life of the psyche. And by lying down in this double flexion position on this Freudian couch, the mind kind of goes back into the, the past. It facilitates regression into the past, and therefore the childhood memories, the childhood conflict, or the childhood trauma can be very easily brought to the surface. So this is important, that the shape of the couch facilitates regression, it facilitates relaxation, so that in that relaxed state, the conscious mind, conscious resistance get loosened, and the unconscious material comes to the surface, and there could be development of transference. So transference is usually the projection of the patient onto the therapist based on the childhood experiences of that person in their childhood with the parental figure or whatever. So that thing, that repressed thing gets projected by the patient onto the psychiatrist or the psychologist. This is called as transference. So through transference analysis, and in general through the psychoanalytical framework and psychoanalysis, also you can reach to the unconscious mind. So this is another door to the unconscious mind. Meditation and various kinds of meditation techniques are also a door to reach to the unconscious mind. So there are many meditation techniques. Some techniques, they deal with kind of rhythmic breathing, a fast rhythmic breathing, which is done for a sustained period of time, which kind of knocks off your conscious mind, and your conscious resistances get loosened, and the unconscious material is then brought to the surface. And certain techniques, they deal with going into the deep silence, cutting off from the world, this sensory deprivation. Close your eyes, close your ears, don't speak, and go into the deep silence. And after some period of time, your conscious mind kind of sleeps off, because you are not engaging in any way through the world. Your senses are deprived, your eyes are closed, your ears are closed, you are not speaking or engaging with the world. So your attention is not directed outwardly, so it goes inwardly, and in that deep silence, in the deep relaxation, the repression barrier gets loosened, the conscious resistance get loosened, and the unconscious material then comes to the surface, and which can be sometimes overwhelming also. So tapping into the unconscious is not going to be kind of easy, happy to go thing, because as I said, the unconscious mind carries very painful and fearful things also of your remote past, which you don't want to deal. So when it comes to the surface, it is accompanied by strong emotions, kind of tsunami of emotions that the person experiences, along with the physical component like sweating or increased or decreased blood pressure, palpitation, dizziness, tightening of jaw, sometimes falling unconscious. So you would have seen that many people, they say that after so and so meditation exercise that I performed, some remote past memories came on, they came to the surface, and I started crying and I started screaming, and my hand got very stiffened, my jaw got tightened, or I lost my consciousness. And it was kind of unpleasant thing. But then after some time, after that crying episode, I felt very relieved and I felt very light. So this is a classic example that by particular meditation technique, the unconscious material came to the surface. A purging, a kind of emotional vomiting happened, after which there was a deep relaxation because the burden of the unconscious mind decreased. So the meditation techniques are also a door to the unconscious mind. Now, in philosophy and spirituality, it is often said that through this, sometimes even your past life memories can also come to the surface. Now, I am not supporting or refuting this claim, but I am simply putting it as a fact that many meditation practitioners who have been into the deep meditation have described that going into the past, initially the past of this lifetime, it came to the surface, and after that also, if they continued the meditation, sometimes the kind of imagery or something related to the past life also came to the surface. So this has been described by many meditation practitioners, but I'm not supporting or refuting it. I'm just putting it as a fact. So maybe your unconscious mind also contains the remote past, including the past of your past incarnations as well. So we don't know, but the unconscious mind could hold that also. So that is all about the discussion about the doors to the unconscious mind. And sometimes it is said that very strong attraction you are feeling towards something, a very strong repulsion you are feeling with something. You met somebody and you get a gut feeling that this person is not the right person for me, or something which you can intuitively sense, but you can't kind of say it with conviction, or you can't apply logic to it, you can't apply your conscious mind to it, but you can feel it. So this is also sometimes said to be an indication to the unconscious that this person about which you are feeling unusually attracted or unusually repulsed is kind of pinching or tapping into something related to your unconscious, right? So this gut feeling is a kind of indication of your unconscious, which comes even before your conscious mind kind of can make some sense about it. So these day-to-day things are also way to reach to the unconscious, that I don't know why, but I feel very strongly repulsed by this, or whenever this person is around me, I get reminded of something which I can't sense, but I just don't feel comfortable, and it feels very unpleasant or frightening. So these day-to-day experiences in their nuggets can also be a door to the unconscious mind. If we reflect on them, if we go into them, then it can also speak something related to the unconscious mind which we can know about. So that is all. There could be many other techniques and many other methods also to reach to the unconscious, but I know this much about which I wanted to discuss with you. So that is all. Do share your views in the comment section about the video. Thank you so much.